Hey BBs, it's Plastic, and today I'm back with you guys for another video. How are we all doing today? Hope we're all doing really fierce. In today's video, I want to sit down with you guys and kind of just talk and ghoul chat about Barbie. I don't really have like a specific point about Barbie that I want to talk about. I just want to talk about Barbie and like my thoughts with Barbie, my criticisms, my positives, and how I feel like my overall opinion on Barbie has definitely changed a lot since the Barbie movie. I don't know if I'll get too much into the Barbie movie because spoilers, and if I do get into it, it'll be at the end and I'll have spoilers, or if I do get into it at any point, I'll just tell y'all spoilers. But I think Barbie is just such an interesting thing. It's trendy right now and everyone has Barbie on their minds, and I know I'm definitely in my Barbie era. I've definitely been consuming more Barbie media, consuming more Barbie dolls into my life. And I think it's just a very interesting topic, as Barbie is literally like the OG doll. Like, I know everyone, like, yeah, I know it's kind of not like trendy, at least in the last year, to really enjoy Barbie, especially because our dolls aren't exceptionally really good right now. They're just kind of like there. At least I think the Barbie movie dolls, specifically like the Western one, is like one of my favorite Barbie dolls. They have some great lines, obviously, in their meh of everything, but it's really cool that we're able to like come together, I think, as a doll community, because no matter what side of the doll community you're on, like Bratz, you know, Monster High, LOL, whatever, I feel like everyone has like an understanding of just appreciating Barbie in this like month right now, and I honestly really love that. And I know the first doll that I started playing with was Barbie. I actually started off with this like Disney Aurora doll, but I always claim my first doll was Dracula Gloom Beach, because like that's the doll that I keep in my collection, and like I don't even know what the Aurora doll I had, and it was a mess. But I used to play with Barbies heavily before Monster High, and I think it's really cool that I'm like very nostalgic for Barbie right now. Like, there's just so many Barbie dolls that I'm like thinking back of like my childhood that I'm like looking up on Mercari and eBay, and I'm not necessarily buying them all, but like it's cool to like see them still and like see them like, oh yeah, like that was a real doll and that was something that like I imagined. I think that's something really exciting, because I think everybody has a story with Barbie. Like, I think everyone has definitely had a Barbie doll probably in their lifetime. At least that was what I kind of had. And I think growing up with Barbie was really exciting, especially like the fun fantasy dolls. Like, I remember my favorite Barbie doll from when I was younger was, there was this witch one, but then the one that I really loved was Merleia, and I loved that pink bubblegum, not pink bubblegum, but like that hot pink mermaid fantasy. Like, I live for that. And it is kind of sad that we don't really see that too much with Barbie dolls right now. Like, there's not that much of like gorgeous pink, overly feminine fantasy dolls right now. Like, I don't think that's really a thing anymore, but it was so fun when it was. I lived for that era. But I did eventually kind of grow out of Barbie, especially when Monster High came out. Like, obviously, I think Monster High, when I was younger, and I think it still is kind of more relevant in my brain than Barbie ever was. I think Barbie's very, like, not realistic, but she's more of a human. Like, I think Monster High was just always a fun fantasy escape for me. And I hope that Barbie can do that again one day. Maybe they are a fantasy for the kids. Maybe people do feel like they can escape the world with Barbie, and I love that for them. But I think the one thing that like I really cannot, like, as an adult, I don't think I can ever fully bring myself to be a Barbie collector, is because of how many Barbie dolls there really are. Like, I've been watching so much Barbie content recently, like I've been watching like all these collection videos, all these like documentaries, like everything Barbie on YouTube. I can search up, I will watch, and I've been loving watching that all, and it's super interesting and fun to see like this other side of the doll community that I don't usually interact with. Again, I usually interact with Bratz and Monster High, like those are my biggest things, but it's really cool to come out of that world and see that. But with seeing all this Barbie content, I've been like super overwhelmed, just because of how many Barbies there truly are. And I know there's different eras of Barbies, and I only really ever want to collect like 2000s to like early 2010s era. So I don't think I could ever see myself collecting like the 90s or the 80s Barbies, but seeing how many 90s Barbies and 80s Barbies there are drives me like into a wall, because I feel like if I ever had to collect them, I feel like I would never ever know like a way out of them. Like, I feel like every time I like every time I learn about one Barbie, there's 3 more Barbies that I've never known about, and then like it'll be like forever to, you know, research. I just think Barbie's such an involved collection to collect, because again, in my brain, there is no way out of it. Like, there's just so many of them that continue to exist, and I don't think anyone's really collecting like modern Barbie. Like, I don't think there's like many modern Barbie dolls besides like the collectors, or like the looks, or the extra, or like the fancier lines. Like, no one's really collecting Playline. I think Playline Barbie used to be such a fun thing. Like, I have so many Barbie dolls that I just got at the flea market like a week ago or whatever, and they're Playline, and they all have such interesting, great quality, and it's so sad to see like now the Playline is just like the bodies are just like stiffer. I don't know if that like makes sense, but like they're just not as exciting and as fantasy evolved. And even like I don't even think Barbie has to be super fantasy to be interesting. I just think they need to have like really nice quality current outfits, and I don't see that as much. But besides my criticism of Barbie, I want to kind of take that out and just think that after watching that movie and after again watching all this content for Barbie, I've gained such a new respect for her that obviously she was the first fashion doll and she really was this positive role model for girls. And I think that when people we get swept up in this whole idea of Barbie being this thin blonde white woman, which is the case, but for her time period of being in the 60s, she was super beyond progressive, and I don't think that's what people understand. And that's what I hope the Barbie movie shows and presents to people in this whole trend of Barbie and everything and all these new collectors or whatever. I hope people understand that Barbie is just much more than a blonde, thin white woman. And we've been seeing Barbie get more diverse like, periodically over time. And it's cool to see her become more diverse throughout the recent years. I wish they amped that up and like made it more fun to be diverse. And I have again my whole thoughts of just like if you're gonna have a diverse cast of characters, why would you switch from the super glamorous brand, like the early 2010s era of them all being super glamorous, to like the late 2010s era, you're like now, where they're all diverse, but they're not exciting to look at. What I meant by like exciting to look at was like just the overly glamorous, pink, sparkly, fun, just unapologetically feminine dolls. And we don't really see that as much. I mean, there's like the Barbie movie dolls that are kind of like the oddballs, and obviously the extra is kind of exciting, but I don't know. And I also think that with the new Barbie trend, like let's go back to that, is that I think there's going to be a lot of new doll collectors coming out right now with the Barbie trend. I think we've seen it more on TikTok with the new Billie Eilish song of people going back and finding their own dolls and getting that nostalgic feeling. And I just want to say quickly before we get into any other point that I will always love new doll collectors. I think my story of how I got back into dolls is like looking at my Monster High dolls and watching the video, like the movies and stuff on TikTok and everything. Like once Monster High started popping on TikTok, that's when I kind of got interested in like looking at my old dolls and like wanting to collect them again and feeling the nostalgia and the fantasy again with the Barbie or the Monster High dolls. I think a lot of people are gonna start to collect Barbie, not a lot. It's not gonna be like a giant thing, but like I think we're definitely gonna have a new wave of a bigger wave of doll collectors, especially over the past couple years. We've seen doll collecting become less. It's still very niche, but it's more mainstream in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but the whole like Barbie core thing is definitely allowed doll collecting to not be as criticized by the public, and I think that's a great thing. I'm so sorry, but I think I posted about this on TikTok or my Twitter or whatever, and everyone is so upset that like there's gonna be more doll collectors, and I honestly thought that was a really good thing, and I'm always gonna welcome and allow new people to enter the doll space as long as they're not weird and they don't have like bad intentions. I think the doll community has no limit in my opinion. I think as many people who want to collect, even just for nostalgia, I love that. I love being able to, if you have a doll that you really loved when you were little, you get to buy that doll now with your adult money, and you could put it on your desk, put it on your shelf, and you go home to it, and you can just like feel that like immense joy. Because especially with doll collecting, I feel like dolls are something that is so criticized so early on when you are a kid that it's so sad that like especially girls, they have to just kind of like get rid of the dolls right when they hit middle school, right when they hit like 5th grade, or right when like things start changing. So I think it's really empowering, to be honest, to be a doll collector in this time period where yes, the collecting space is so over the top filled with men. Funko Pops, the action figures, video games, mainly dominated by men. Obviously not saying that women can't do that, but it's so cool that I think you're able to take back this power of dolls were girly, dolls are childish, dolls or whatever, and you're able to recollect them now as an adult. And that's not like just specifically Barbie, but it kind of led in that segue of again seeing all these people not collect their own dolls, but like look at their own dolls from the past. And that's again how I got into doll collecting, is looking at my old dolls. So I hope that if we do see this new wave, that everybody in the doll community welcomes them in and is nice, because I don't think it's ever productive or anything to just be nasty and mean and bitter to newer collectors, because everyone is on their own doll collecting journey. Everyone's collection's different, everyone's progress is so different, and I don't want to ever shame anybody for being new to collecting. So again, if you ever see anybody new on like Instagram or Twitter, just help them out and everything, because I got a lot of negative feedback on that. But I also just think that Barbie's such a well-versed, like a long time period of dolls, But it's so interesting to like look back. Like I've been looking back at them again, and seeing the different fashions evolve and change, and seen through Barbie's eyes is so beyond cool. I really, really love that about a fashion doll, and that's kind of what I love about fashion dolls. I think Barbie has definitely reignited that in my brain. Is that like fashion dolls are meant to represent the current times, and I loved looking back and seeing all the funky fashions from different time periods, and that's what I really, really want, and that's what my goal, my Barbie collection to be is. Because now I'm like, okay, like I can have like a Barbie collection. Like I had a Barbie collection for the past couple years since I've started getting back into dolls again. But like specifically Barbie, something that like I'm always like, okay, like I'll find at the flea market. And honestly, Barbie's so much more fun to collect in person, like in antique stores, in flea markets, in thrift stores, whatever. Because again, in my experience, I don't ever know what Barbie dolls are really out there. Like again, I know my childhood ones, I know the ones from the movies, and I can see like what's on store shelves, but I never really fully know the extent of Barbie dolls. So part of the excitement about collecting Barbies that I found is that when you go to the flea market and like thrift stores and stuff, you can find dolls that you wouldn't usually search up on Mercari or eBay, like you wouldn't really know they existed, but you could find them in person. Like they're just super cool and they're super like they're super exciting, and you want to like add them to your collection. So that's one of my favorite things about Barbies. Like I don't like it's my favorite thing, but it's also my least favorite thing, is because I don't really know how many there are out there, but I also don't know how many there are out there. You know what I mean? Um, so I just wanted to say that because I've been, again, when I go to the flea markets and stuff, I don't, intend to buy Barbies, but I usually end up with some because like they're so common and they're everywhere. So I think that's a really, really fun kind of thing that I can do now, is just collect any Barbie that I think is fantasy and is fun. I do want to say that, again, with this new wave of doll collectors that we might see, make sure if you want any Barbie dolls, probably buy them now. I think that's kind of like a fair warning, is that since the movie is coming out, some of the older Barbie dolls are going to get expensive. We've already seen Earring Magic can get expensive. I think Alan's, if he's not already expensive, he's probably jumping the boots. I know the Video Cam Barbie doll, she's expensive because one of my friends sent me a listing of her being like 70, and now she's like regularly like 130 and everything. So like she's kind of pricey. All the Barbie movie dolls sold out. This one, the story with this one is that one, Western Barbie. I had to fight for that doll, but I know a lot of Barbie merch and stuff is getting sold out and everything. So if you really want any specific Barbies, probably get them now before it gets crazy. Also, as I'm watching a lot of this older Barbie content, I notice one criticism that a lot of people have is that Barbie's super it promotes overconsumption, which is something that I've never ever thought about until watching all these people voice their opinions on Barbie. And I never ever took that away from Barbie, is that she's super into overconsumption. But when you really think about it, she kind of is. So I think, again, as I want to collect Barbie now, I don't want to buy just to buy the dolls, because like again, there's so many out there. But I thought it was a really, really interesting idea that I think obviously like Barbie's like a product, like you're meant to buy her, like she's here to be bought, like she's on your store shelves, she's a business, she keeps people employed, duh. But I also think it's interesting that like you can get really, really, really swept up into Miss Barb. I don't know, I just wanted to point that out because I've never ever heard anyone ever like talk about that before watching these like documentary kind of things. So it's really, really interesting and all that stuff. Oh man, I watched this Hulu video. It's called like Plastic Shoulders on Barbie, and it's about how they reinvented or they designed the plus size bodies. And honestly, again, I never really like Barbie. That kind of Barbie era was like kind of past my time. And like now that I'm here, like I'm like again more into that specific era Barbie. So like I don't collect too many like the different body molds and everything. But it's super interesting to see how they designed that and how much anxiety they all had when they were releasing this new product. And I'm not going to spoil it too much because again, I'd never ever heard about that documentary until I saw it on my like recommended on Hulu last night, and I was like, I'll watch it because it's Barbie and whatever, and I love dolls. So if y'all haven't seen that and you have a Hulu or you have any, I don't know if it's just on Hulu, but check that out. Tiny Plastic Shoulders. It was really, really interesting to see again the design process at Mattel and how they're trying to keep current things alive, and I thought that was interesting. So I don't know, but overall, my random rambles of not much thoughts coming together. I just want to say that I love Barbie now. I'm definitely in my Barbie era. I'm definitely open to collecting more Barbie dolls. I'm definitely interested in watching more Barbie content and kind of staying up to that. And I think it's exciting, again, as a collector, to open up your widths of everything and not just the idea that collecting Barbies cliche or it's stupid or bad or there's a negative connotation to it, because there really isn't a negative connotation to collecting Barbie. It's just like any other doll line. And I know, especially when I was first collecting dolls, is that I felt like I didn't want to be seen as a Barbie collector. I wanted to be seen as a cool Monster High collector, an edgier one. But I think it's fun just sometimes to just like not try to be this like cool doll collector and just realize that like you can have as much fun as you want with dolls, and they don't have to be super catered to the specific thing. And I think it's interesting that a lot of people aren't allowing themselves to open up to Barbie, and that's fine if you don't like her. But I think it's also just exciting to just open your widths of view sometimes, and just being able to collect something that like, you wouldn't usually. Because sometimes you really, really enjoy it. So that was kind of my thoughts about today. I know Barbie has so many things to talk about, but I don't have a flow of consciousness to think about it all. But it's really, really interesting to kind of dig deeper into Barbie and really like think about her more than just this one narrow-minded view of her. So I definitely, again, I appreciated her a lot after the movie. I've appreciated her a lot recently, and just a Barbie girl in my Barbie world. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, though, your thoughts about Barbie dolls, just like your overall consensus about them. Like, do you like them now? Do you dislike them still? Do you collect any? What's your favorite Barbie era? Because I think that's my favorite thing to ask. Because mine is definitely my nostalgic, like late 2000s, early 2010s. Just that like fashionista era, the hot glam pink everywhere. It's my favorite thing ever, I think. I'm gonna track some of those down later, but I have a good amount. Like this one I got this one recently, and she is fabulous. I just hold her up, but I was holding her up, but like she's just amazing. Like I love her so much, and I love this again, the fantasy of it all. So okay, I'm gonna stop talking about nothing, and I hope you guys all have a great day. Let me know in the comments below though, and I cannot wait to catch y'all though in the next one. Love you all. See you soon. Bye. Mwah.